Hello, welcome back. Let's just get right into it. Today we're going to be doing some handstand prep work. So we're working on strengthening the muscles that need to be strengthened and finding that balance when we're upside down, inverted. All right, let's go. To start, let's just warm up our wrists and our forearms. I feel like they're a very neglected joint that we have, and it's really important, like I say in all of my videos, to never sink into your joints. And this is going to be key when doing a handstand because you're on your hands and you don't want to get any wrist pain, and you find more balance when you use your finger pads to press into the floor instead of letting all of your weight go into your wrists. So clasping your hands together, just gonna do figure eights, warming them up, getting all the synovial joint fluid flowing. And then you're going to reach in front of you and just grab whatever it is, imaginary meatballs maybe, and then you show them off. So grabbing imaginary meatballs, back of the hands together, and then you show them off. Really getting everything warm and juicy. And then same thing, reaching to the side, bringing them in, and showing the meatball. Grabbing the meatball and showing it off. Then we're going to take our fingers and we're just going to clap our hands, our fingers to our palm. See if you can make a noise. Good, now shake the wrists out, and we're gonna come down. You're just gonna do tiny little pulses. Up, with your palms facing the floor, palms facing in front of you, same thing, tiny little pulses, finding stability. And then taking the palms to the back, same thing. Tiny pulses up and down as you move your arms away from your body. Let's do it again, palms facing the floor. Palms facing the front. But this time, instead of going up and down, we're going to go back and forth. Which gets weird for me right here. Back and forth. Flipping the palm to the back, same thing, instead of up and down, back and forth. All right, awesome. Now let's activate our core. So coming seated position, legs in front of you, taking a deep breath in, and you're going to slowly roll down your spine, one vertebrae at a time. Reaching your hands above your head, and you're going to roll up, chin to chest, and you'll find that one spot where you have to reach even more. Coming up to seated, maybe tapping your toes or your shins wherever you are, keeping length in your spine. Deep breath in to roll back down. One vertebra at a time. Hands above our head. Again, breathing in, and then on the exhale, chin to chest. Rolling up. Tapping the toes or the shins. When I do this, I just move backwards. So if you move backwards too, this is the time to scoot forward. Rolling down and rolling up. And rolling down. And up. And rolling down. Really feeling your core as it supports your spine. There's no sticking your stomach out or pooching. It's very, if that's a descriptive word, belly button to spine. Trying not to grip in our hip flexors, but that it's our core bringing us up. And back down. One more time, coming up. Rolling down. Now we're going to do the reverse of that. So, making sure you have enough room. You can give yourself support by grabbing your hips, or if you're just super muscly, you can do it without, but we're going to come gently into a plow pose. So you can use your hands, if you're not using them on your hips, you can place them on your sides and push it into the floor to help you bring your legs up. And then you're going to use your muscles, bending your knees to roll down. To then straighten your legs, to roll back up, and rolling down. Nice and slow and controlled. If you need to use your hands on your hips for the extra support, like so, then do it until you build the strength to go without. Remembering to breathe. Rolling down, straightening the leg, rolling up. This is not a good view for me. Let's do it 3 more times. Rolling up and down. Up. Down. Last time, up. And rolling down. Placing your feet on the floor. Taking a deep breath in. Bringing hands behind the head. Making sure that as we do this next exercise that we keep our butterfly wings open and that we're using our core to lift our shoulders off the ground and not putting any strain or pull on our neck. So taking a breath in, on the exhale, coming up, engaging all of those core muscles, your transverse abdominis especially. We're going to lift up one leg diagonally. And we're just going to drop the heel to the floor and back up. Heel to the floor, back up. Let's do 10. 9. Making sure our pelvis is not moving as the leg goes down, but it's very supported, holding still, using those pelvic floor muscles. I lost count, so let's do 5. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming back to the diagonal. We're just going to bring our leg to the side. Same thing, keeping the pelvis neutral. So doing our best to not let it tip forward, tip backwards, or to the side, but we're using those muscles to just move the femur in the hip socket without our hip moving. shoulders off the ground. Let's do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, whew, I'm feeling it, 3, 2, and 1. Lowering down, bringing that leg to your chest, moving it around in the hip socket. Lowering down. Now let's do the other side. Deep breath in. On the exhale, lifting the shoulders off the ground, lengthening that other leg, just diagonal so it's not coming all the way up. Knees shouldn't pass each other. We're just going to tap the heel to the floor and up. Keeping our pelvis neutral. We tend, when our legs go down, to want to let the pelvis tilt forward. But we're going to use our core to keep it from moving. Making sure your butterfly wings are open. And you're breathing. Let's do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming up, your leg comes up. We're going to go to the side. This is my weaker side. Holy cow. And if you'd like, you can place one hand on your hips just so you can feel them staying in neutral. Let's do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bringing that knee into your chest, moving it around in the hip socket. Breathing. Doing your best not to get distracted by everyday life. Let's just come into happy baby pose just so we can stretch our low back a little bit, just in case there's any tension there. Good. Now that our core is active and alive, let's activate our arms and our back, because those are very important muscles to help keep us in a handstand. Now, wherever you are in your handstand journey, beautiful. Me, right now, I haven't quite got it yet, still building the strength and finding the balance. So, we're on this journey together. Let's come to a downward facing dog. Let's take a few moments to really breathe and enjoy this shape. Maybe treading our feet, moving our hips around, rolling our shoulders back and down. Whatever it is you need to do, do it. All right, so if you have tight shoulders, just further your hands away from each other so you avoid any pinching. Coming to downward facing dog. A mistake that I had been making for years is that I would not fully go into my downward dog when it comes to my shoulders. So we want to make sure that our elbow tips are going back towards our butt and that we feel this spiral and activation in our triceps and our deltoids. The difference being here versus, you see how my elbows are going out versus looping them in, and our head is between our arms. Feel that activation all the way up into the back, into our lats. Taking a deep breath in, coming to our tippy toes, and we're going to walk our feet as close as we can to our hands. And you're just going to put the weight into your fingertips. We're going to take one foot and flex it, and maybe if you can, tapping your forearm. I'm not there yet, but if you are, wonderful. So, just a little tap, tap, tap. Feeling your core, pushing out of your joints. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Walking back to downward dog. Coming into a plank. And we're going to push back, keeping our knees off the ground. And forward. Back. And forward. Good. Coming to tabletop position, let's try and find the length and connection between our torso and our legs. Man, talking, breathing, and being upside down do not go together. So, tabletop position. Finding that neutral pelvis, neutral spine. Making sure that there's 90-degree angles happening between your arms and your torso and your legs and your torso. Going to lengthen a leg back. I'm doing my right. And you're going to lift it. And you want to feel the connection between your leg all the way to your pelvis, to your spine. So notice that if this is happening, if you're swaying in your low back, or maybe you're opening up your hip, just notice what happens when you lift that leg up and try and find that neutral spine, neutral pelvis, because that's what you want when you're up in the handstand. And maybe you lift opposite arm as leg, making sure that your shoulders are not up by your ears. Breathing. And release. Coming to the other side. Lengthening that other leg. If you did your right with me, now it's your left. Lifting it off the ground. Notice what happens in your body. Do things move around? Do your hips get weird? And then finding that correction using your core to support your skeleton. Finding length, maybe lifting up opposite arm as leg. Keeping your rib tips and your hip tips connected. And coming down. Now that we feel warm and fiery and we felt that connection in our body, we're now going to start with a simple headstand, just so we can kind of feel what it's like to be up there without necessarily being on our hands. So, two options here. The first option is make sure you don't have a bun on top of your head. First option, placing head on the floor. I suggest using a mat or maybe a pillow. Don't just do it on your hardwood floor, that'd be painful. You're going to place your head on the ground and your hands with fingertips facing your eyeballs are just going to come out like so. You're going to push into kind of a downward dog, and you're going to bring one knee at a time, walking your toes towards you to bring one knee at a time onto your forearms. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you push up and you find that handstand sensation. Feeling the connection of your legs to your torso as you go up. Option number two, a little more difficult. Grabbing your elbows, placing them on the ground, and that's where you want them to be. Opening up your hands, clasping them, you're going to put your head right up against your hands, like so. Same thing, lengthening through our shoulders, so not sinking or crunching. And you're going to walk your feet towards your face, and you're pushing your pelvis or your center of gravity to be in alignment with your spine. Now, you can either, if you're super crazy, lift your legs up from here, or coming to a wide second. This one's a little easier, and lifting them up from the side. Woo! It's okay to fall. Wherever you're at is wonderful. Take a few moments to try and find that headstand. And being gentle, don't drop out of it, but control yourself out of the headstand when you're ready. And meet me back on the mat. Maybe gently moving your head back and forth, going no, going yes, being gentle. Did you get it? Did you feel that length, the connection of rib tips to hip tips, the connection of your legs to your trunk, making sure that our pelvis isn't doing anything crazy? Now we're going to work on putting the weight onto our hands. So when doing handstands, you're probably going to fall. And the best way to fall is to fall on the squishy bits, right? So our butts, our thighs. We don't want to fall on the bony bits. So, well, hands, elbows, knees. The best thing to do for me, especially if you find yourself falling backwards, is to tuck the chin to chest and just gently rolling on your spine like you do in a yoga class, these things. But instead, you're coming out of a handstand. So, coming to standing, making sure that there's enough space everywhere. Let's get onto our hands, maybe fall down and have some fun. So, you're going to go down a boat ramp to your hands, and you're going to create a little passe, right? So, whatever leg you choose to go in front is going to be the leg that isn't passe. Make sure I got that right. Or it is going to be the leg that passes, excuse me. So, going down the boat ramp onto our hands. We're going to go down the boat ramp and just pop that leg to your knee. Let's do this a couple of times. So, I'm using my right leg, but whatever leg you feel like doing first. So, down the boat ramp, up. Just feel what it's like to catch some air. Pushing into our fingertips, making sure that our pelvis isn't doing anything weird, and either looking at the floor or looking behind you. If you look behind you, just remember to tuck your chin in if you fall backwards. So, a few more times. Maybe you find yourself catching air time, which is wonderful. One more time. Coming to the other side. So for me, left leg for you, your other leg, same thing. Down the boat ramp into a little passe. So just feeling the weight. Seeing if you can catch that air time. A few more times. Whoop. And that's what it looks like to fall. Now that you've had time on your hands, let's see if we can get that handstand. So picking a leg, seeing if you can catch the air time and be in that handstand using the strength that we've just built and finding that balance. Here we go. Just messing around, kicking our legs up. Like I said, I'm not quite there yet. Maybe if you have a wall, you can walk your feet up. But let's take a moment. Deep plie, breathing in. Exhale to forward fold. Placing our hands on the ground and just putting the weight into our hands. Maybe lifting up one leg to the side. Coming back to forward fold. Weight into our hands, coming into our tippy toes. Lifting the other leg to the side. This is great prep work for a press stand. Beautiful. Coming to forward fold. Shaking our head back and forth. Deep plie, rolling up. Let's take one more moment to see if we can get that air time in our handstand. So, down the boat ramp, everything's connected. Here we go. Your hips are your center of gravity, especially if you're a woman. Our center of gravity tends to be a little lower than a man's center of gravity, and we want it to be right over our head so we can find that balance. I think I got 1 second there. Keep on going. Maybe trying to switch your legs in the air. So switching the passe. 2 more times. I think I got 1.5 seconds. Wonderful. Well, lots going on, if you couldn't hear. But we did it. We got in our hands, we found the connection, we found the balance, and that's what's important. So you can do this exercise, any of these exercises, every day until you get that handstand. That's what I'm going to try and do. So thank you so much for joining me. If you liked this kind of exercise tutorial, then like and subscribe and join me
tomorrow.